This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
When they're not covering the sports world, they're talking about the world of professional wrestling.
It's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Now, with Justin Simmons, here's Stu Myrick. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the horn. Stu Myrick here. Justin Simmons will join us later on in the show, but this week and next week, for that matter, All Elite Wrestling makes their debut in the great state of Texas, the Lone Star State. Of course, if you're listening to us on the horn, we're in Dallas, and yes, I mean we, because I'm going to be there as well. We're in Dallas, or actually Garland, the Curtis Caldwell Center, for AEW Dynamite next Wednesday. They'll be at the American Bank Center in Corpus Christi. And to help me celebrate this moment, who better to bring on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline, two men that I know and love dearly. First of all, he is the Executive Vice President for All Elite Wrestling, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Hello, Cody.
Hey, buddy. How are you? And
we might as well just make him the new co-host for Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. He is the legendary and a man that has apparently found springs to put in his knees. He is the ageless wonder, the natural, Dustin Rhodes. What's up, D?
Hey, man, but my left knee's kind of sore right now.
Well,
the springs aren't working real good.
You need some lubricant in those knees. All right, so
I am the Tin Man. I need lots of lubricant.
We gotta get that.
Last week after his match with the Bucks, Dustin sat down on the steps right outside go position. He said, "I'm done for a month."
For a month. Well, you know, Dustin and I have that same malady. We're both 50 plus, so it's I understand. We can't go like you young kids anymore. I mean,
what are you talking about, Stu? I can.
Don't they call 50 plus in other sports an old head? That's what it is.
That's
right?
true. That's true.
50's the new 30.
50's the new 30. And Dustin, I mean, my God, that match with you and the Bucks versus Sammy and Santana Ortiz. I mean, just how much fun was that?
Well, it was a lot of fun, Stu. But to be honest with you, once I got out of the ring after my comeback, I don't remember a lot because it was so fast. There were so many things going on in the ring. I was kind of lost because those kids, they're incredible. They do some unbelievable stuff. So I kind of got lost in the moment of the things that they were doing, and it was just like, wow. I was watching these kids, man, and it's 2020 almost, and it's like, this is our future. This is the now, right
You're
here.
Right.
And here I am with them. And very honored to be in there and having a good time and hanging with the kids. And yes, Cody is right. I sat on the steps. I went, I'm done for a month. I was dog tired. My knees kind of hurting, but I'm good. I'm good to go.
Some of that Mr. Gaddy's pizza grease will probably work wonders on those knees, right?
I love Mr. Gaddy's.
I know you do. We've talked about this.
That aren't from Texas.
I know.
Is a big pizza place.
My mom used to take me to Mr. Gaddy's.
Really?
When we lived in McKinney, yes. And then as an adult, I would then come back and have Mr. Gaddy's, and it wasn't as good as I remembered as a kid.
Yeah, I just had Mr. Gaddy's a couple days ago. It's still really good. All right, Cody, I want to talk to you about let's go back January of this year. You made the announcement. You were standing in front of TIAA Bank Field, the home of the Jaguars, and now it's All Elite Wrestling. You're about to celebrate your first anniversary. Just reflect back on this year and what it has meant for you, for Brandy, for Dustin, for everybody with All Elite Wrestling.
Well, if the first year was to be the only year, if that was to happen, then I could still say that the business has forever changed because of what happened, whether that be the pay for women going up and equally and fairly, or whether that be the idea that some wrestlers can actually obtain insurance via the company they wrestle for, or whether that be wrestlers in multiple companies being much more in control, because now it's not the only game in town. There is other places, and there's other large scale exposure like TNT. I mean, the fact that wrestling, AEW, pro wrestling, had the biggest debut for TNT and Warner Media in 5 years, if you think about how great they are and the wonderful amount of programming they have. This year, it's very hard to just reflect on a certain thing. I will say, from a personal standpoint, I have noticed how important it is for me to be surrounded by my friends, family, and no pun intended, inner circle. When we talked about Dustin coming in for Double or Nothing, I did hope that Dustin would come work for AEW full time. Now, with the amount he does with the women's class, with the promos, producing those promos with Jeff Jones and then letting one of the EVPs approve them, but pretty much they're all great already. The amount of things he does to flank the brand that you never see in conjunction with that match that you did see, massive. Dustin is just, I told Brandy all last week how I'm not shocked by it. I'm just glad it happened that way. It's special to have my brother, have my wife, occasionally my dog, and all my friends who know how important this is. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. We signed up for a real deal company that we want to be here having this same conversation in 10 years. So hopefully that's the way to go. But I'm just very proud of what's happened.
I'm there with you. It's just such a cool thing. And Dustin, I mean, you and I have talked a lot, but talk about you and I've talked about your coaching the women and coaching the women's wrestlers, and it makes me think back. Like we talked to Mick Foley about a month or so ago. He was here in Austin, and his love of women's wrestling, and you and I have talked about how much you admire the women in AEW and how much you love training them. Just talk about that and tell people what it means to you to help bring these women up to these great standards that we have seen in AEW.
Well, it's a collective, of people with Kia, Kong, and Kenny Omega, and myself and Brandy. And women's wrestling, I've always been a big fan of, and I've always thought that in the past that they've gotten the short end of the stick, because some of these women can go out there and perform just as well as the men. And if given the opportunity, they go out, they pull the trigger, and they score. And they when given a long leash, they can really accomplish a lot of things. And I'm very, very impressed with our roster of women. They are hungry, very passionate, young, willing and able to try new things and to step out of the box, to kind of step out of their comfort zone and really explore something that is very incredible, which is AEW. And it's, there's not any shackles on them. They are free to explore their characters, and I'm there to help them get their characters over. And I really want that for them. I want them to succeed. I want them to be a Charlotte Flair, to headline the All Out pay-per-view or the Double or Nothing. That's my goal, is to get them ready. And hopefully, in the next year with our training sessions and their continued weekly television matches, and they go other places, so, hopefully with all that, they can continue getting in the reps and getting better and striving to be the best women out there today, because we have a powerful roster, man. It's impressive, as you know.
Yeah. Well, and that roster just became more powerful with the signing of Big Swole and Chris Statlander. And Dustin, I know you and I have talked about Chris especially, but talk about these two new additions to the roster.
Yeah, Chris really stuck out in my mind because I had no idea who she was. And it shames me to say that, but it's like I didn't know who Chris was, but I knew that she was garnering some attention on the indie scene. And she came to one of the training sessions, and immediately when she got in the ring and she started doing the training, I was like, holy crap, man, this girl can go. This girl is really good. And I took her over to Tony and I said, man, Tony, I really wish you would consider hiring her because she is impressive, man. She really is. And she's got a good look, and she has a different gimmick that hopefully the world will get to know and love to see in the coming months.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Before we go further, I got to ask, because, you know, I love dogs, so I got to ask Cody, how are Pharaoh and the Cheese Boys, Dustin, Brute, and Khaleesi? I see them all the time on Instagram. Let everybody know how the dogs are.
Well, Colby is 16 years old, and he's 3.8 pounds, and he sleeps 20 hours of the 24 hours a day. But during the 4 hours he's up, you would be convinced he is 2 years old. Sprinting around, we had to put this blue stick on his paws so he doesn't slip on the floors at the house. Pharaoh is now entered lazy husky phase. He's 7, and I took him to the dog park. He goes to the dog park every week, and his new thing is the limping when he leaves the dog park to make it look like he's been through just the biggest struggle. So he's in a lazy husky phase.
He went to war.
And then Monterey Jack is our most sturdy but least interesting dog. He's not the dog you put on the cover of the magazine. He's B+.
Okay.
But he's sturdy. He's our best eater. He can swim still. Monty Phelps is what we call him. So Monty is I could see Monty being here until he's 100 years old.
All right. Dustin, what about Brute and Khaleesi?
Man, Brute Khaleesi or something else. An Agent 22. Hey, she gets a bad rap. She doesn't get enough social media exposure.
I know.
But Brute is my boy. He's 230 pounds.
Yes.
And at times he's pretty spry, especially after he uses the bathroom at nighttime. You hear him running at night with the lights off. It sounds like a horse coming. And you got to watch out because he will take your knees out. They're Velcro dogs. They're called Velcro dogs because they just lean all over you, man. They lean against you. They connect themselves with you. They're very people oriented, and they love to be in your lap, even though they're not a Monterey Jack or Colby sized dog. They want to crawl up in your lap, and yes, it hurts at times. You know, their elbows will stick you where you don't want it, but they want to lay on the couch all day and do nothing, eat, sleep, and use the bathroom. That's it.
It's the great life of a dog. What do you expect? Talking with Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes. You can follow them on Twitter at Cody Rhodes and at Dustin Rhodes, respectively. Cody, you had talked in an interview about walking the line with being in-ring competitor and at the same time working behind the scenes in your position, kind of like what your father did. Let people know about that and let them know what that balance feels like and how careful you try to be in that balance, because there's always been criticisms about those wrestlers that run promotions and whatever. Just talk about the mindset of keeping that balance.
Well, I think more than anything, it's a matter of time management. Tomorrow's a good example. Tomorrow I'm in action, so there's only so much of the EVP and the clerical stuff that I can be doing before I have to literally take my suit off and put my other suit on and kind of starts circling like a shark out in the ocean and focusing on the actual in-ring and the bell-to-bell. And really, more than anything, time management and preparation. We run one day a week, but the other 6 days a week, we're talking about it. We're planning for it. We're thinking about it. It's very much a full-time job if you're going to do both, and if you're going to do both at the top of your game. In terms of, old school criticisms like with Eddie Graham, Bill Watts, Dusty, I mean, anybody who was ever the booker and at one point also was the top star. I took myself right out of that equation. I don't want to hear it one bit because I took myself out of the AEW World Championship picture, and that's a decision that didn't go over well with everybody. But I can tell you it feels right for me because I can continue to trend upwards. It doesn't mean I can't be in the main event. It just means I can't wrestle for the world championship. And that creates an interesting dynamic with the company. But I want everyone to have the best possible chance to succeed. And that's from employees to performers. And taking myself out of that title picture sets a few more folks up to, pop their head in there and see if it's a fit for them and see if they can get there, being a more sports centric approach and records mattering and things of that nature. So really it's just a matter of time management. And at the moment, I've been very happy with how I've managed my time. I have yet to come up with like that day where I'm like, well, I had too much going on and that's why this happened. That hasn't happened yet. And hopefully it doesn't happen anytime soon.
It does look like you're really maintaining the balance, and at least on TV comes out as it's a good balance, and I applaud you for that. AEW, like we said, as you're listening to this on the Horn tonight, they're in Garland. Next Wednesday, they are going to be at the American Bank Center in Corpus Christi. AEW Tix, TIX.com for a ticket, and coming February 12th, AEW comes to the ATX. They will be at the HEB Center at Cedar Park, formerly known as the Cedar Park Center, the home of the Texas Stars and the Austin Spurs. That's Wednesday, February 12th. Tickets go on sale this Friday. Again, AEWTix.com. We're going to be a part of it. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, the Horn. And let me ask both of you what it's going to mean, because we've all talked about this, but what does it mean for you guys to be running a wrestling company and to bring your signature show to where the Rhodes name was born, where the dream was born here in Austin?
Well, I lived there, so this is home for me.
Yes, it is.
And I better be on the card that night. That's all I have to say about that.
I know for me it means a lot. It's one of those dates you have on the calendar, and you don't want to think anything. You want to think all your dates are just as important and they're all equally special, which they are. But that's one of those ones you kind of circle because it has a different type of specialness to it, and being the fact that that's where, Dad was, born and raised, and that's where he first encountered pro wrestling and fell in love with it. So we would be doing a disservice to the legacy if we weren't hitting Austin, especially with how much Austin has changed and the type of city Austin is now, or Cedar Park in this case. And it's a family show already. I got family on camera, behind the camera, and that's kind of like a home show, like Dustin mentioned. And it's just one of those, there's not really words for it. You sit there and you're in the same area code. You're in the same airspace as where it all began, in 1960 something, 1968 or whatever it may be. So I'll have that in the back of my mind, and I'll carry it into that show.
I think it'll be fantastic. Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, AEW, so glad you could join us. Before y'all go, Dustin, there is one question that has been on the minds of fans everywhere, so I have to ask it. Are you going to be the new offensive coordinator for the Texas Longhorns?
Sign me up immediately. I mean, geez, sign me up to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Anything.
All right.
I mean? Both these things.
Do you really want to work for Jerry Jones?
Not really. But
okay.
You know what? I'm sure it pays pretty good.
I'm sure it does. And I talk to Jerry every couple of weeks anyway, or at least see him. So,
I can tell you this, Stu. I'm not going to be scared to go tell my players they need to move their ass.
I know our text conversations after games have been quite vibrant. Let's put it that way.
Right. I don't know, man. It's like I'm such a fan, but it's like they're sinking my battleship every week.
I know.
It's like enough's enough. Let's get back to the big recruiting, the powerhouse that Texas used to be, and the Cowboys of the 70s, and just let's win some Super Bowls and some national titles.
Yeah. Cody could be GM. Why not? Cody, you want to be GM of the Cowboys?
He likes Georgia.
I know he likes Georgia.
The problem there would be, I right now my loyalty is to them Jags.
That's
it's
true.
New loyalty, for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But I said it I sat in Chad's owner's box, and they got really good candy and sushi and TIA.
Jags, baby.
What a stadium! There's pools in the end zone. There's a dog park on one side. I'm all about them Jags and Gardner Minshew right now.
Yeah, it's a great stadium. Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, as always, it is so much fun to talk to you guys. You know we love you. All the best to you. And as we're recording this on Tuesday, I'll see you guys tomorrow up in Garland.
All right, buddy.
All righty,
Look
man.
forward to seeing you.
So great to get both Cody and Dustin on. You know, they've been on the show several times, but separately. So it was good to get them on together. And you know, like I said, we love them to death. You know, two of our dearest friends, especially Dustin. Like I said, we're just going to make him the third co-host for this show. And don't forget, AEWTix.com. You can get tickets for the show in Corpus Christi next Wednesday. And starting on Friday, you can get tickets for when AEW comes to the HEB Center at Cedar Park. What better way to celebrate the Rhodes name, the name that was born in Austin, Texas. AEWTix.com. Of course, as we said, follow Cody and Dustin at Cody Rhodes, at Dustin Rhodes, and at AE Wrestling on Twitter for everything that is with AEW. When we come back from this timeout, we've got Ring of Honor with their biggest pay-per-view of the year, Final Battle, coming up this weekend. We'll talk to Joe Hendry from Ring of Honor, talk about his time in Ring of Honor. He's got a match coming up this weekend. Next on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn.
Salutations. This is Dalton Castle, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick. Ring of Honor Wrestling has their biggest pay-per-view of the year this coming Friday night. It is Final Battle time from the UMBC Event Center in Baltimore. And, of course, that can be seen on pay-per-view, Fight.tv, Ring of Honor Honor Club. And one of the matches that you will see this Friday night, an interesting tag team match. Silas Young, who we've had on the show before, teaming up with Josh Woods to take on the Peacock himself, Dalton Castle, and our guest at this time joining us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. He is the prestigious one. I love the word prestigious. Joe Hendry. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Hendry. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm just in awe of that introduction. All that information delivered beautifully.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I've done this a time or two, so I try to pump you guys up as best as I can. I'm interested in the fact that you're also a musician, because Austin, Texas, we're known as the live music capital of the world. And I just want to find out your influences. What were your influences as a musician?
So my favorite bands growing up were I liked Weezer. They were my favorite band. That kind of taught me about, if you listen to Weezer's songs, that's just possibly in my opinion, one of the best bands you could listen to learn about songwriting. So I really got into them. Then I kind of, one of my other favorite bands is Fleetwood Mac, and I really got into them. And that kind of, really helped me out with understanding the songwriting side of things. But in terms of the kind of custom entrances and having fun with my entrances, a lot of that influence comes from how much I enjoyed Tenacious D as a teenager. I watched their DVD just hundreds of times. Tenacious D, the Masterworks, I thought was hilarious, and I think that has always stuck with me.
Tenacious D, a great musical act, and I know we've seen them a few times here. So let's switch gears. You've been wrestling now for about 10 years. Give me your influences there. What were, someone that caught your eye that made you say, that's what I want to do with my life?
Well, believe it or not, I take it as a compliment that you think it's 10 years, but I actually started wrestling in 2013.
Okay.
So
I don't know why I had my mind that you started in like in 08 or 09. I apologize.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Hey, I take it as a compliment. It's for me, my favorite wrestler was The Rock. You know, to me, when he made his entrance, you were just like, that's the guy right there. That's the top talent, bar none, right there. So that's who got me into wrestling. Then beyond that, that kind of hooked me into wrestling. I was a fan of The Rock before I was a fan of wrestling. Then I got into wrestling and I really enjoyed, like I say, I had the wrestling channel back in 2003, 2004. So I actually used to watch Ring of Honor all the way back in 2004 on a channel called the Wrestling Channel in the UK. But we got loads of great wrestling. That, obviously the mainstream stuff that was on TV, but also the old school World of Sport stuff from the 80s as well. So I kind of got into all that. But The Rock was the one that got me into the business. One of my favorite in-ring performers was Kurt Angle, and I was actually fortunate enough, you know, this is one of these things. I actually tweeted, and he says, I know who you are. I know you're working hard, but if you work very hard, maybe one day I'll give you the match if the timing's right. The next year, it was 2016. I'm only, 3-4 years in the business at this point, but it was me and Kurt Angle, main event of a pay-per-view, Jim Ross and Jim Cornette commentating. And that's just proof that, if you put your goals out there, these crazy things can happen. That same year, I went to an ROH tryout, and that initial movement there has led to where I am right now.
Amazing. Such a great story. And you mentioned about your wrestling experience, and you've been a big part of the wrestling scene in the United Kingdom. How proud are you of the exposure that it has received in the last few years?
Immensely proud to be a part of the British wrestling scene. And again, I've been a big part of it, but a lot of the hard work was done before I ever laced up a pair of boots. A lot of the foundations were put down before that kind of, 2010, 11, 12. And then when I entered in 13, things were starting to heat up a little bit. So there'd been a lot of hard work before me to bring the scene to that point. So I'm immensely proud of where the British scene has got to and the influence that we've had on the professional wrestling world.
Yeah, I imagine. So you even got to work in World of Sport for a bit, didn't you?
Yes, the modern incarnation of it, yeah.
And what was that experience like after, having fallen in love with it back in the day on the Wrestling Channel, then getting to wrestle in World of Sport?
Yeah, it was really cool to be associated with that brand. Again, that was a very cool experience. I'm glad I got that timing-wise. I got to do it. But I knew in my heart that my focus had to be on Ring of Honor. So I was actually fortunate in that when I'd wrapped up tapings there, I went on to do a UK tour with Ring of Honor. And the tour ended with this match with myself and Jonathan Gresham. And I was like, oh, man, this is where I need to be. This is where I need to be. I don't know how we're going to get it done, but we got to get it done. And, moving forward, my goals were at the start. That was in 2018, and then the start of 2019, I was like, I really need to see myself as a world champion. And that's the thing I want to get out there to people is you need to be humble and confident at the same time. You need to be humble in that you need to put in the reps and put in that work as if you're a world champion. Right from the get-go, you need to make it a lifestyle. Professional wrestling has to be your life. You need to eat, sleep, and breathe it. It has to be your absolute life. So be humble in that know that the work ethic, you can't be good enough just on your natural talent. You've got to put in that work ethic as well. But at the same time, have the long-term confidence to say, I do see myself as a world champion, and that's what I see. And to me, the Ring of Honor World Championship is one of the most prestigious titles in all of professional wrestling. If you look at who's held that title, who's gone through the company, it's the absolute upper tier of professional wrestling has held that championship, and even the World Television Championship as well. So there's a lot of prestigious titles, if you will, in Ring of Honor, and that's what I'm here to focus on. I
couldn't agree more. I've always had such respect for Ring of Honor and the World Championship there. Gotten to know Kerry Silken over the last few years, such a dear friend. Let me ask you, when you first turned on to Ring of Honor, what was it that drew you to Ring of Honor? Was it a certain personality? Was it just the style of it? Tell me the attraction to Ring of Honor.
What drew me to the product initially was the quality of the wrestling. That's the one thing that always cut through was the quality of the wrestling, and that's something that's been consistent in Ring of Honor. Ever since I started watching it. I started watching it back in 2004, and that's the one thing that's always been there is bell to bell, the quality of the wrestling. And that's a challenge for me. People see me as, an entertainer, but being in Ring of Honor forces me to prove to the world exactly what I can do in the ring.
You're absolutely right. Talking with Joe Hendry, the prestigious one, here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Again, follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Hendry. So let's talk about your time in Ring of Honor. You came into Ring of Honor, and immediately there was this electricity, I guess is the best way to put it, or at the very least, charged rivalry with one Dalton Castle. Talk about your relationship with him, how it started, and the journey that has brought you to where you're going to team up at Final Battle.
The journey, well, here's the thing. When I got into Ring of Honor, I'm looking at Dalton Castle and I'm thinking, me and him have got to be the two biggest personalities in the company, the two biggest egos in the company. Can those two egos coexist in the same company? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking they can't. So I'm thinking, you got to go in, you got to take out the competition immediately. So that was the goal. But reluctantly at first, I found and realized that actually myself and Dalton had something in common, but also not only do we both have that legit amateur background and foundation, but we also have a different style of entertainment as well. When we're doing when you see our promos, we both got a very different style of comedy, and he catches me off guard. And I'm genuinely having fun and laughing whenever we're recording that stuff. So there's chemistry there, and we're thinking, you know what? Yes, we're both world champion caliber athletes. He's already won the world title, but together right now, we could be the most entertaining tag team in pro wrestling. And so that's what we're here to prove at Final Battle.
I couldn't agree more. I've had the opportunity to visit with Dalton many times, and you talk about an engaging personality, and just from the little bit I've heard from you here, I mean, it's the same thing. Absolutely engaging. The fan reception has been off the charts here lately. They've really warmed up to you guys, haven't they?
They have indeed. It's again, when the crowd loved Dalton Castle when I appeared in Atlanta. They weren't sure. They didn't know what they were going to make of the prestigious one. But even by the next day in Nashville, the people just couldn't help but be entertained by the personalities in the ring, whether we're at odds or on the same team. So we thought, you know what? Let's just pull in the same direction here.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your match at Final Battle. You're going to face Silas Young and Josh Woods. They've been on a tear as a tag team lately. I think they're still undefeated. And it really does seem like the winner of this match is going to set themselves up really nicely for Ring of Honor World Tag Team title shot against whoever ends up being the champions after Final Battle, whether it's Lethal and Gresham or if it's the Briscoes. Give us your scouting report on Josh Woods and Silas Young.
I think that, again, if you look at Silas, he is a veteran of our business. He's got more experience than any of us in that match. So experience goes a long way in this business. He's held the World Television Championship for a long time in this company. So he's going to be very confident going in. Josh Woods as well is a national champion of amateur wrestling. People might not know that, but Josh's technical skills are as good as anybody's. It's at the highest possible level. Then you've got myself and Dalton. We've got our amateur backgrounds as well, the high level, both won championships. And we got the entertainment. But you know what? These guys have got the entertainment as well. They've been putting out some segments, and that's how this whole little beef started, because we saw them kind of stepping on our toes a little bit. We're the most entertaining tag team in pro wrestling. We take issue with that. They took issue with us, and we're going to settle it in the ring like gentlemen. And
it is a really cool thing to see the amateur chops that that the four of you have. You're a two-time British amateur champion. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. Greco and freestyle.
And then you mentioned Josh Woods has a extensive background in amateur wrestling, as does Silas and
National
Dalton.
Champion.
I mean, this is a lot. It's not just, yes, it's going to be absolutely entertaining, but there's some athleticism that's going to be incredible to watch in this match.
Absolutely. This match is going to embody my whole attitude towards Ring of Honor, which is people know me, people know Dalton for the entertainment aspect, but we've got that athletic background. And our goal is to bring people in with the entertainment and shock them with our athleticism.
Ring of Honor Final Battle. It is this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. The pre-show will start at 7 p.m., and I believe the pre-show is free on Honor Club. I believe it's on the Facebook page.
Absolutely free.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Hey,
we're giving
first
it away.
hour, and it's going to be your match, and I believe there's I forget the second match that's going to be on there, but it doesn't matter because your match is going to steal the show, right?
That's the main thing. That's the main
right.
thing.
So, but check it out. The main card starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can catch it on Fight.tv, Ring of Honor Club, and on pay-per-view. They'll be coming from the UMBC Event Center in Baltimore. Joe Hendry, follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Hendry. Joe, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. I enjoy talking to you. I hope we get to have you back on the show very soon, but all the best to you. Safe travels to Baltimore, and we'll chat again soon.
Thank you very much for having me anytime.
And yeah, I didn't even realize it had only been 6 years for him. I mean, he's been such an integral part of Ring of Honor just in his short time in Ring of Honor. He was a big personality in Impact Wrestling, and of course his extensive background in the British wrestling scene, wrestling for the likes of Defiant and World of Sport and ICW. And he's such a big, bold personality, and who better to team up with Dalton Castle than Joe Hendry. So, as I said, follow him on Twitter at Joe Hendry on Twitter and Instagram. Looking forward to seeing him Friday night on Ring of Honor's Final Battle pay-per-view, their last pay-per-view of 2019, their last pay-per-view of the decade, as they and the rest of the world turn the page to 2020. We're going to do our picks for not only Ring of Honor Final Battle, but we're also going to do NWA Into the Fire, which is on Saturday, and WWE TLC on Sunday in a podcast-only segment. Justin Simmons will join me for that. And we'll go over some other news and notes from the world of wrestling, including New Japan announced the Wrestle Kingdom 14 card, so we'll review that as well in the podcast-only segment. Coming up next, you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, the podcast-only segment. No, we're not taking Fight Night over again, at least not now. We may do it soon. Stu Myrick, and joining me finally after taking the two on-air segments off, he is none other than Justin Smash Simmons. Now,
for life.
For life. He is the Smash for life. Now, to be honest, pull out the curtain a little bit. So, when we do these, we've told you we record the show on Tuesdays. We also do most of the interviews on Tuesdays, and it's usually during the day because in my real life, Tuesday is one of my work from home days. So, of course, that also means the home is also the worldwide headquarters of Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. So, when we book these interviews, a lot of times they can only do during the day. So that's why we do them. So that's why Justin wasn't part of the two interviews on the air with Cody and Dustin, and then with Joe Hendry.
I was just going to say it's because they don't pay enough for my fee.
Well, that's true too. Yes, I can only get you for so long. You've become quite the voice. You're about to run Flow Sports.
Maybe.
Like I said, yeah, I've always called you the Craig Way of St. Edwards.
I am working there this week too.
So, you just heard the music, and if you don't know by now, in a kind of an odd twist, WWE has decided to start announcing Hall of Fame inductees early, and the first ones they announced through ESPN, Mark Remedy from ESPN broke the story on ESPN.com that the NWO, the New World Order, will be inducted The New World Order will be represented by Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Sean Waltman, a.k.a. Six, from the NWO. Your thoughts on the NWO going in the hall?
Yeah. Some people aren't going to be happy with my thoughts, but who cares? So the thing is that I don't understand you. And look, I'm not going to discount the NWO's place in professional wrestling history. Monumental when it happened.
Right.
It's just that I don't understand how come Hogan gets a pass, but a guy like Jordan Miles is just like vilified all of a sudden, or ACH, however you want to go about it, for doing what he believed was right. And he didn't hurt nobody's feelings. He did nothing to nobody but himself, you know? It didn't affect anybody else's life.
Right.
But what Hogan did was, you know, think about the people's careers that he kept down. That's people's food off the table. Yeah. Then the other stuff that came out in his post-wrestling life and all that. And it's just like, okay, so I get it. You know, no doubt. Without him, you can't have professional wrestling where it is today. Everything that he did in his career, rightfully he deserves the accolades. Not taking that away from him. I just find it strange that when it's because of what he said and he never really apologized about it, that the issue of race in the WWE still doesn't have a good look when you have this ACH thing fall out and then you have Hogan going into the Hall of Fame. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
I'm not taking away from the NWO thing. That's cool.
Right.
I'm totally with that because I know a lot of people out there were for life, so that means you guys are still NWO.
And let's remember, he's already there. In fact, all four of these
guys are in the Hall of Fame.
Are in. So this makes them all two-timers. Hogan, Hall, and Nash are in under their individual accolades, and then Sean Waltman was inducted last year as part of D-Generation X.
Yeah, but don't you think it kind of belittles Hall of Fame a little bit?
Well, look,
I mean, if the way I see it's like we already understand as Hulk Hogan, he is part of the NWO. Right. So why is the group? I didn't get it with DX either, but I mean, I'm glad that Billy Gunn and
let's remember something, and you know we are proud to be the official broadcast partner for the only brick and mortar Hall of Fame, the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in Wichita Falls. So let's remember one thing. WWE Hall of Fame is a gimmick. It's a marketing tool. It's a way to sell tickets, to generate content for the network. It's
yeah, but I mean when you get
it doesn't have a board of voters. There's one vote, and it's Vince.
And that's the way he ran his business for a long time. So I understand.
Well, and the other thing is, if you're going to have a Hall of Fame, you want to sell tickets to the ceremony. In fact, that's part of the reason why they're announcing it now, is because when tickets went on sale last year, ticket sales were slow. So apparently,
didn't they also have to compete with like wrestling that night?
It's going to be on the Thursday night of WrestleMania weekend because, of course, now SmackDown is on Friday night. Used to be it was Hall of Fame on Friday, NXT Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday, Raw Monday, SmackDown Tuesday. Now SmackDown's on Friday, so they are going to actually have the Hall of Fame on Thursday.
That's a lot of wrestling.
It is, but then again, it's WrestleMania weekend. There is like the wrestling is overflowing.
I know. It's the 1 week where it gets a pass from the national media where everybody's like, this is WrestleMania. People are flying in from all over the world. I've never been to a WrestleMania and I've never once been to WrestleMania and have not met somebody from overseas.
Right.
It's either an Aussie or a Scot or an Irishman.
Yes.
Met a lot of Englishmen.
Yes.
A lot of English people, but met some other Aussies, and then there was some fans from Japan. I was just all like, I was like, okay.
Our friends Simon Miller and Phil Chambers from What Culture, see them on WrestleMania weekends. My buddy Will Gavin from TalkSport, who also does Super Bowl coverage and does a lot of NFL coverage. He's usually at WrestleMania weekend. So, in fact, he and I and Joe Roderick from the 590 The Fan in St. Louis and Road Warrior Animals podcast, we hung out after G1 Supercard this past April. Went out, had a few cocktails. So. It's fine. It's the NWO. It's kind of like, and this is something they still haven't corrected. They've inducted the Rock and Roll Express, but you got to induct the Midnight Express. So if you're going to have D-Generation X, you got to have the NWO, and that's fine. It's again, it's the WWE Hall of Fame.
I guess, but the set presidents though, it wasn't even DX; it was the Horsemen.
Well, and they're in too.
Exactly, but they were the first group.
Yes, they were the first major.
But the thing was, it's like that really felt accepted. Like, hey, yeah, they were revolutionary. They all deserve to be in there on their own accolades, though. I guess that was the one thing that I've kind of always seen. Like, I get that they're part of a stable, but you would think that all of those people would be in on their own accord. That's what would make those stables.
And
like,
why Sean
legendary.
Waltman is not in on his own accord is beyond me. I mean, he's one of the guys that set the table for junior heavyweights and cruiserweights.
Yeah, especially in the modern WWE era. I mean,
yes.
he should be getting that on his own merit.
Absolutely.
And the fact that the term expat heat exists.
Yes. Yes, that too. So, they also had they announced through People.com Batista. The Animal is going to be inducted. Batista, the 6-time world champion, I believe. He was part of Evolution.
He's making movies.
Then you've got the rub from his movie career.
Yeah, for sure. He deserves to be in. I can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
If Cena's going to get in, then yeah, you have to have Batista.
Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations to Batista.
It's funny because I'm a little... Like, I start kind of falling out of wrestling at that point, but my cousin was a teenager at that time, so he was in it, and, like, Batista's, like, one of his favorites.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get it. I forget that he has, like, a whole appeal from, like, a whole generation of fans.
I showed up. A friend of mine that works at the Urban Center got me tickets, and I went there to get them. And it was day of the show, and so he took me into the arena. They're getting set up, and the wrestlers were there getting their hotels, whatever. And I got to see Batista up close.
Yeah.
You could show a movie on that man's back. Oh, my God, he was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Gigantic.
I can only imagine what he would look like in person. Jeez.
So, anyway, congratulations, Batista. Congratulations to the NWO. That will be, as we said, the Thursday of WrestleMania weekend. I think tickets go on sale like this week. So, if you're heading to Tampa for that, there you go. Before we get to the pay-per-views, a couple other things. Something we haven't seen in a while from WWE. Wrestlers getting released.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Harper, Sin Cara, and The Ascension get their releases. Now, they are under no-compete clause, 90-day no-compete.
Yeah.
So those end March 8th, which apparently would have been about the time those contracts would have ended anyway, at least for Luke Harper and Sin Cara. So kind of interesting that they timed it like this. But it's something we haven't seen in a while because it seemed like WWE was holding on to wrestlers just for the sake of them not going to, whether it was AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Impact, MLW, whatever.
Yeah.
But I wonder why the change of heart.
I think they finally seen that it doesn't hurt their bottom line now.
It's possible. And I've heard that theory. I've heard that theory that, even if, say, Luke Harper come March, second or third Wednesday in March, all of a sudden he shows up on AEW Dynamite, it's not going to be the blockbuster that they thought it'd be, I guess. I don't know.
No offense to any of these guys because they all worked hard and this is something they've requested. But again, it's not like having, and we just talked about him, it's not like having Scott Hall and Kevin Nash show up on WCW television all of a sudden.
Right.
Like, we're not talking about the major players in WWE. We're talking about guys that have talent that were stuck in the mid-card or lower and feel that they have more value than what the WWE was seeing in them, and they're willing to take a chance on themselves. And there's something wrong with that. But at the same token, because they weren't doing anything in WWE, unfortunately, not on their own accord, obviously, mainly due to the company, but because of that, even if they do go somewhere, especially for somebody like Sin Cara. Like, okay, they own the gimmick, so how are you going to market yourself when you're out of there? I know your first name is really Jorge, right? I think it's George.
Well, it's not the original Sin Cara either.
No, I understand.
I think the original Sin Cara, who's Mystico, is wrestling in Mexico now.
Yeah, he went back to Mexico. But this Sin Cara is like, okay, well, now that you're off, like, I guess you're just going to market yourself. Like, it's not going to catch the casual fan's eye. Luke Harper, you haven't seen him for so long that kind of forgot how good he is. And at the same token, is AEW a company that's really going to want to, try to come up and pick up the scraps, so to speak, because they have to still build their own stars that they're working on.
And that's what they're doing. And they have said in the past that, look, we're not going to just run and sign every ex-WWE superstar. Now, if one comes along and it fits what they want, maybe. Ironically, I've also heard Luke Harper could go, and of course now I guess he'll be known as his independent name, Brody Lee. I've heard he could make a jump to New Japan.
But that doesn't necessarily translate into instant success. That's all I'm saying.
True.
And that's what I don't think fans understand. Every fan out there is like, oh, he's such a talented person. They need to release him, blah, 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 blah. And I go, I get it, but then where do they go, and what happens if they don't become world champion? Is it a waste? Not everybody's going to be world champion. And unfortunately, it's not because of talent. Sometimes it really is because of politics.
It could be.
Or it's not because, that person's not a good wrestler. It's just because the crowd doesn't connect with them the same way that the champion does, regardless of moveset.
Yeah, I get that. One other thing that just came down late, something else we haven't heard in a long time, WWE has suspended Robert Roode and Primo Colon for 30 days for the first violation of the wellness policy. And it's like all of a sudden, like, hold it, I forgot they had a wellness policy, but apparently,
I was going to say, I forgot those dudes were on the roster still.
Well, Robert Roode's been tagging with Dolph Ziggler. Doing the thing with Baron Corbin, and in fact he had, he wrestled Roman Reigns, not this past Friday, but the previous Friday on SmackDown, and he said something about his family. Roman Reigns snaps and just beats the holy hell out of him, and so we thought he was being, he was written off because of injury, but no, apparently it's because of this 30-day wellness policy violation. Now, Primo Colon. Yes, I forgot that the Colones were even part of WWE. In fact, apparently they are working in WWC in Puerto Rico. Their father's promotion, and apparently Primo is their top champion.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, Robert Roode, I can see that. I get that. That's kind of interesting, but okay, the Colones, sure.
Yeah, but
we haven't seen him on TV in like 18 months. But
I don't know. I think the most interesting aspect is the fact that he gets to wrestle for his father's promotion. So whatever his contract must look like must be amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's nothing like being on WWE payroll and then not even having to make the dates.
Yeah, absolutely. So all that being said, let's go through the weekend's pay-per-views real quick, and we're going to start on Friday night. And because I think Friday night and Saturday will be easy, and then Sunday is going to be interesting. So Friday night, Ring of Honor Final Battle. They'll be 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on pay-per-view and Fight TV and Ring of Honor Club. They will have a 1-hour pre-show at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. It will be free on Honor Club on Ring of Honor's Facebook page. The pre-show will include a tag team match. You just heard me talk to Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry and Dalton Castle. Talk about flamboyant and entertaining and everything else. Taking on the last real man, Silas Young and Josh Woods. As I mentioned it during the Joe Hendry interview, both these teams, whoever comes out on top has got a really good shot at getting a shot at the tag titles.
I would say so.
So you got that one. That'll be on the pre-show, as well as the All Night Express exploding, which apparently has been coming for a long time, but they haven't pulled the trigger on it until now. Rhett Titus taking on his former tag team partner Kenny King. Give me your thoughts on winners on either one of those.
Oh, I would pick the tandem of Castle and Hendry.
Yeah, I'm kind of there too. I think that one is a. Well, no, hold it. No, actually, on second thought, just for the sake of being different, I'm going to go with Young and Woods. If for no other reason, then this could be a push towards you got this temporary alliance, but it could be, they'll lose and then they'll go at each other.
Nah, I still don't buy it.
I know we're just spitballing here. So, but I'm gonna go Castle, or I'm gonna go Young and Woods.
And then I was gonna say I always felt that they're trying to make Kenny King like the breakout star. So I think he's the Shawn Michaels in this group. And that's no offense to like workability or anything like that. I'm just saying positioning.
Yeah. I still will never forgive Kenny King for ousting Jushin Thunder Liger and Great Muta during the Honor Rumble at G1 Supercard. But
that's pretty big accolades for his career, though.
Yeah, but he instantly became the most hated man in New York. Women of Honor match: Angelina Love versus Maria Manick.
Well, how come it's not for the title?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. And there's a whole lot there, and I'm not going to pretend to know everything about it.
We don't know what. I mean, all we could tell you is what happened. And so the fact that she don't work there no more.
Yeah,
although she was the champion.
Yes. So Kelly Klein, who, as far as I know, is still the Women of Honor World Champion, was let go by Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Due to, and it's, how I hate going into this because I've seen both sides. I've seen 43 different sides.
Well, I mean, you don't have to unpack it all. I was just simply stating that she no longer works there.
She no longer works there,
and there has been no talk about the championship.
There hasn't.
So that's why I'm like, oh well, then this should have been for the title. If this is the only women's match you have on the entire card,
and as far as we know, they haven't even announced anything about the title being vacant.
Unless they're just going to do it night of, kind of like WWE style when they broke out the new WWE Women's Championship.
And that's a strong possibility.
And that wouldn't be a dumb thing.
Right.
That would tie up a lot of loose ends. But if they don't do it, then I definitely have questions.
Yeah. So, Angelina Love or Maria Manick?
I couldn't even tell you, honestly. I haven't seen enough from either two. So I feel like I will just give you a pick. Just for Angelina Love,
I think I'm gonna go Angelina Love as well. I think they're trying to set Maria Manick as the strong, beast baby face, but we'll see. In a battle of strongmen, Jeff Cobb taking on Dan Maff.
Yeah,
Dan Maff, former Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion.
I know. I'm just like,
I'm going Cobb on here.
I would too. And it's just like, I don't understand, though. Like, if he's going to be one of their guys, why isn't he closer to the top at this point? I figure he would be competing for at least one of the titles.
Who's this? Cobb?
Yeah. And he doesn't. And I'm just like, well, okay, well, is that telling me that there's something? And then, hold on. And then, is there something going on backstage? Is somebody not like him? Is there a reason why he's not getting the push that he probably really should be getting? It's like, okay, well, maybe Dan Maff is the new guy. Maybe that's what they're really trying to do, and this would give him that type of win. So I'm going to go Maff because I really don't know.
All
right.
Right.
Weird, but just for the sake of trying something new, because it seems like they may be heading in that direction.
Yeah. Another tag team match, Flamita and Bandito taking on Marty Scurll and Flip Gordon from Villain Enterprises.
I picked the Luchadors.
I'm gonna pick the Luchadors too because Marty's contract is about to be over, and although we've heard both types of rumors, we've heard more that he is ready to jump to join his elite. His friends are not going to be dead anymore. In other words, in a grudge match, Vincent taking on Matt Taven. The Kingdom has disintegrated. Vincent had attacked Matt Taven. Matt Taven looking for revenge.
Yeah, I think Matt Taven wins.
I always pick Matt. Long live the Kingdom. In a street match, Bully Ray taking on Mark Haskins. My guess is they're trying to set up the young guys, so I'm going to go Haskins here.
I would hope so, and that's no offense to Bully Ray. I'm glad that he has the star power to put people over. I was just like, if that's the reason why he's coming great, but if he's going to come in and take a win, I'm like, wow, that's kind of burying the young dude, you know?
No, I think this is going to be one of those. He's going to give him Haskins some shine here. So, for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, Shane Taylor taking on Dragon Lee. Although I guess we can't call him Dragon Lee anymore because CMLL owns the name. He doesn't work for CMLL. He's going to be in New Japan as Ryu Lee.
Okay,
so
I'll take that.
Either one. Either one. Anyway, Shane Taylor, Dragon Lee, TV title.
I want to say like he's going to retain because I just haven't seen him have a reason to give it up just yet, but I know they've been trying to do some stuff with him, but it's like, are they going to do more with Shane?
They've got this thing with Shane Taylor Promotions. I'm gonna go Shane, just because I don't want him to come and find me and slamming me. Plus, I think Dragon Lee's probably gonna do some more in New Japan. So,
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna get signed by New Japan, no offense right now to ROH, but
yeah,
New Japan kind of just overtook them,
and he's gonna be at Wrestle Kingdom, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. For the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, the 11-time champs, the Briscoes, taking on Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham.
No, I hate to say this, but this is kind of showing you the dilemma that ROH is in when there's only like one really young guy in this match.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This kind of just makes you go, oh, okay, I understand Lethal, nothing wrong with him. But, it's just that we've already seen it.
Well, and there are some other teams in Ring of Honor. This is kind of the same boat as when they gave Rude and Ziggler the SmackDown tag team titles when you had like 43 other tag teams.
And you just stuck
actual
some people
tag
together.
team. Yeah. This one, I mean, they've got the Beer City Bruisers. They got Coast to Coast. They got who's the SOS. I don't know. And the funny thing is, I've got a feeling they're going to put him on Lethal and Gresham.
Oh yeah, no, I was going to pick them. I'm just
that way.
that
Lethal can be a Triple Crown champion, and Gresham gets a title reign.
Exactly. And they could start building him back to where I felt that he was going to be already. I felt we kind of delayed his push.
Right. I mean, the Briscoes going to win him back in February or something. And
that's the sad part is that they probably are going to win him back.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's something against
They
the
will.
Briscoes' work. It's just that it's kind of like seeing the Midnight Express. It's like
Yep.
you've seen them forever at this point. And
Yep.
and the other thing is that they never left ROH.
That's true. They've been there from day one. And then for the Ring of Honor World title, Roosh defending the title against PCO from Villain Enterprises.
Oh, we all know that.
Yeah,
it's going to be PCO. No, man.
He said that with a straight face too.
I know.
I love PCO, but
I know he's not going to win the title.
Yeah.
Not against Roosh. Not against this guy that they sorely need to push if they're going to have a new champion. Can you imagine though if PCO won it though? It's kind of like, man, you oh wow, just some disarray with the title picture just because they need to build a new star around that title.
Yeah,
and they need
that's
to do
true.
it quick.
That's true.
But I don't know if PCO, even as a transition champion, would be that answer. I would hope not, but we'll see.
That's Ring of Honor Final Battle Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Fight TV pay-per-view and Ring of Honor Honor Club. So you go from Final Battle Into the Fire.
Into the Fire.
Yes.
It's a great song.
Oh, it's a fantastic song. God bless talking. NWA presents Into the Fire Saturday, 6:05 p.m. Eastern, 5:05 p.m. Central. It'll be on pay-per-view and Fight TV from the GPB studios in Atlanta. They will be having NWA Power tapings the next 2 days after that. The card looks like this.
Well, wait. Before you get into the card, just to reiterate, who's on the call for this now? It's Joe Galley and...
It'd be Joe Galley and Stu Bennett, a.k.a. or formerly known as Wade Barrett.
Yeah, okay.
So there'll be your commentators. I'm sure David Marquez will be involved. The card looks like this. Trevor Murdoch taking on the question mark, the master of karate.
Yeah. I was like, I'm okay with this though. I like it. It's silly in like the old school professional wrestling way.
Absolutely silly, but it's a wonderful silly, and for that reason, I'm picking the question mark.
What happens if he loses? Do they get to unmask him? Because I think Trevor Murdoch might actually win.
I'd like to see. I mean, I like Trevor Murdoch.
I've always liked him. I liked him even in WWE. He has because he looks so different, but he still has that. He has really good basics.
He does. Plus that look. I mean, it's
classic.
It's Captain Redneck reincarnated.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, in tag team action, the NWA World Women's Champion Allison Kay and Ashley Vox, her of the Sea Stars that we usually see at Sabotage, taking on Melina and either Marty Bell or Thunder Rosa.
Oh, I can't pick against Melina and her team.
Yeah, you gotta go with Melina. Who doesn't matter who is going to team with her.
I would prefer to see her team with Thunder Rosa, but
well, and they got to set up
each their own.
They got to set up a title picture or title program there. In singles competition, Ken Anderson taking on Eli Drake.
I like Eli Drake here in NWA. He's really good.
He's
like
so good.
I really didn't give him enough credit back when he was in TNA.
Yeah.
I just didn't see enough of him, but now I'm just like, man, I missed out. So yeah, Eli Drake easily.
I'm gonna go with Eli just because that way I can hear. Let me talk to you. I think I've got that. Let me see if I do. Yeah, this one. Hold on.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah, that one. In a triple threat match for the NWA National Championship, Colt Cabana will defend against Absolute Ricky Starks and Aaron
The women
Stevens.
call him Stroke Daddy.
Huh?
I was like, the ladies call him Stroke Daddy.
That's right.
The men call him Absolute.
That's right.
This guy has so many nicknames.
We just call him Ricky. Colt Cabana, Ricky Starks, and Aaron Stevens.
A lot of talent in that one match.
And I so want to pick Ricky, but I got a feeling.
What, you think they're going to let Colt keep it? Or you think we're...
No, I get a feeling they're going to give it to Aaron Stevens.
Really? You think so?
I
mean, I know they hate him, but I don't know if that's like...
I'm not sure. I really want Ricky to win it.
Well, what is Nick Aldis? Is he supposed to be a bad guy, a good guy? Like
Nick Aldis?
Yeah.
He's a tweener, I think.
It's just like, I'm not sure like if you're supposed to root for him or you're supposed to hate him, honestly. And I don't know if you want somebody that's so hated holding the belt necessarily. It's tough to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
But at the same token, it's like, well, I want Ricky to win, but it doesn't seem like he would be the logical pick in this one either. I would go with Stevens, I guess, if there is going to be a champion, even though, I mean, he does have the most heat.
I'm going to go heart instead of head. I'm going with feeling instead of logic, and I'm going to go for Ricky.
Now, I will say one of the reasons why I don't want Aaron Stevens to win the title is because I can't stand watching him wear those flesh-colored trunks.
Oh, God, please, for the love
of
God,
pick a color,
yes.
Even if it's just white, but like the flesh-colored trunks. Like, it took me a long while to get over it the first time.
I agree.
I was like, okay, now I can tell there's a difference, but at first it was just like, dude, it's not a good look.
It wasn't a good look. For the NWA World Tag Team Championship.
Although I guess you're trying to stand out. Job well done,
but it's blending in way too much. For the NWA World Tag Team Championships, the 9-time NWA World Tag Team Champions, Ricky and Robert, the Rock and Roll Express. I don't care how old they are. That sounds so good. The Rock and Roll Express taking on the Wild Cards.
I think the Rock and Roll Express retain.
Really?
Yeah. Why put it on them just for them to lose it on pay-per-view? I agree. I think you gain more viewers by keeping the belt on them and then showing like, oh shoot, they beat this young team. They are for real.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm
sorry. I hate to say it. Like,
I can't pick against Ricky and Robert. I can't.
Well, no, I'm just like, I don't know who the wild cards are separately. And no offense to them, I'm sure I know they work hard and congratulations for the break, all that stuff. But they're still not the name that will get me to tune into NWA.
Right.
But the Rock and Roll Express running around with the titles, well, shoot, I want to see what's next.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't pick it.
And why give them the title on the Go Home show just to give it back on a pay-per-view?
I agree.
They are the NWA, man.
They beat those dastardly Russians. And then the main event, 2 out of 3 falls for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. national treasure Nick Aldis taking on Cowboy James Storm. In this match, there will be guest referees. So the first fall, the referee picked by James Storm will be Brian Hebner. The second fall, Nick Aldis picks Tim Storm as the referee. If there is a third fall, the referee will be determined by a coin flip.
Yes. I already know how this is going to end. I don't want to ruin it for you.
Do it.
Okay, so it's going to go into the third fall. Aldis will win the flip. It'll be Storm, who's the referee.
And then Storm turns on Aldis.
Oh yeah. So James Storm becomes the champion, and then Tim Storm is going to have a chance at the NWA title one more time, because I feel that they're going to go back and be like, oh, well, I mean, he just didn't get another shot at the NWA title while Aldis was champion.
Right. That's
the reason why he's turning on him in this match, is because he'll have another chance to at least get a shot at the title at some point.
Before they do the rematch with Aldis, and Aldis gets it back for a third time.
Yes.
It makes sense, and I'm going to go with Storm too. So anyway, that's
although I don't want. Can I say I really don't want to see him take the title off of Aldis? I really just think he's really good with it.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's fantastic. He really is. That is NWA Into the Fire, Saturday night, 6:05 p.m. Eastern, 5:05 p.m. Central, on pay-per-view and Fight TV. By the way, stay tuned in the next segment. We're going to give you a chance to win coupon codes to watch both Ring of Honor Final Battle and NWA Into the Fire, thanks to our friends at Fight TV. Then we get to Sunday.
Can I say, I hope for NWA, though, that they actually have some entrance music for a pay-per-view just to differentiate it a little bit. Just a little.
Yeah, I hope so, too. I'm not sure about having it in the GPB studios. It's a great venue for the weekly show, but I don't know. I'm just not. Anyway.
I just like it to be a little different, so it feels a little bit more important. But I really think music for the people that are like the stars of the show should be a necessity, and like the jobbers don't need music, obviously.
Right.
They're already standing in the ring.
All right. This Sunday, WWE TLC, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central on the WWE Network. The 1 hour pre-show starts at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central from the Target Center in Minneapolis.
Do you care?
Well, apparently WWE doesn't, because they didn't even start announcing matches until this past Friday on SmackDown.
But do you care? Because I really don't care now. Because we already know that this is just like a throwaway pay-per-view.
There's a couple things that I'm mildly interested in.
Besides Lashley and Rusev, of course.
Now, as of right now, they only have 6 matches. Which, this isn't NXT.
Everybody's going to go like 25-minute classics.
I doubt that. So let's go through it as it stands now on Tuesday at about 9:00 p.m. Central. So they set up this tables match between Bobby Lashley and Rusev. Now, look, I get that this whole thing with Lana and Rusev and Lashley, to some people, and it's attracting eyeballs.
Me,
yes,
I'm in.
Yes, you watch Total Divas, but
you're missing out.
You have got to admit that first segment on Raw was excruciating.
Yeah, but
oh my God, that wasn't like so bad it was good. That was, for the love of God, somebody turn the channel. It was bad.
No, I understand.
But
the match is going to happen.
First of all, Lana, God bless Lana. She's a beautiful woman. But she repeated herself at least 3 or 4 times.
That's her character. It's not Lana anymore.
So
it's like
basically,
the American Lana.
Dumb blonde, in other words.
Almost, yeah, pretty much.
Who lost her Russian accent, by the way. And then the screaming. Oh my God, the screaming. It was driving me insane.
Well, good.
I want to take an ice pick to my ear.
It has X-Pac heat. It happens sometimes.
Oh, it's bad. Now, all the credit to Rusev for the Donald Duck shirt. That was fantastic. That has got to be the fashion moment of 2019 in WWE. That was fantastic.
I think you have to ask the fashion police about that.
I bet you Breezango would love that.
But I will say that, no, I'm for it. I'm that's probably like one of the few matches I actually look forward to watch, just because they went so hard on the angle, and it's like
did.
and
It was like, I
and they
don't
stuck
care.
with it. So I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna stick with it. I'm gonna try to enjoy it.
By the way, I forgot to mention last week on Raw, that dress Lana was wearing, she was about 2 tape strips away from coming out of that thing.
Well, yes, Stu.
I
I mean,
mean,
that's kind of part
my-
of her character. Don't worry, they use nipple tape.
I hope so. And I hope that stuff with like Gorilla Glue, because man, she was busting out all over.
I was gonna say it's an inside industry secret.
All right,
Honestly,
so,
I really do. I'm not even making that
all
up.
that being said, who you got, Lashley or Rusev?
Oh well, Rusev. There has to be a
We
payoff
bet-
for
we
this,
better-
right? We better get the
better
payoff.
have. Hey, it's on Rusev Day, for crying out loud. We better have.
Can you imagine though if Bobby Lashley does win this, and then the storyline would continue in
God.
some?
No,
That would be
no,
even better.
No.
Oh, and the slow burn, and this lasted all the way until WrestleMania, and then he came out in a tank, and they have a tank match. Yes, I changed my mind. It's gonna be Bobby Lashley. Let him win. I don't know why everybody hates this, man.
You are a horrible little man. Aleister Black. Buddy Murphy decided to knock on his door.
I prefer
so
to be called short,
Okay.
not little though.
All right. Fine. Shorty S. Buddy.
Shorty
Buddy,
J.
40J. Okay.
Shorty J. Shorty Smash.
Aleister Black taking on Buddy Murphy. This should be a really good match. I hope. I really think these could be a really good match.
It sucks though, because I don't think, as good as both of them are, I don't know if the WWE universe is really that into them. They kind of, I think Black lost a lot of steam because he was out with an injury.
Well,
or did they just keep him off?
They just had him in that room waiting for somebody to knock for weeks on end. Nobody would knock. Now, I don't know if that was because of injury or something, but it was like all of a sudden we stopped looking at stopped getting that great entrance and stopped getting the black mass and everything else. So
the character development really slowed down on his.
They didn't really need a lot. I mean, what he had in NXT should have been what he had on Raw.
Well, it was working.
It was great.
It was working when he had that tag team with Ricochet too, and I was like, okay, well,
just because
it wasn't a bad tag team,
right? Because of the opposites. So,
I was like, I like Buddy Murphy. It's
I
just
like
that
Buddy Murphy.
I just don't think anybody's really invested.
Yeah.
But I would go.
And I'm going to go Black on this one.
I hate to say that too, because I just feel like they're really going to try to push him harder because he has the more unique look.
Yeah.
And it's strictly that because
and I think Buddy Murphy's immensely talented too.
Yeah, that's the sad part. It's like, oh, he needs to get a push here soon. But I'm glad that they put him, that they feature even when Tozawa loses on Raw, that he's coming out and having really good matches. I mean, did you see those bumps he took? Like,
yes.
I don't know how you take those bumps and protect yourself. Like the one outside to the ring, he took the knee from Black, and then he took the kick flush on the face.
Black mask. I mean, he sent Tozawa's face into like the mezzanine.
Yeah,
that was oh my god.
Yeah, it was like strong style, and I'm like, wow, Tozawa just shook it off like it was no big deal, and I'm like, you cannot be feeling good after taking that. I don't care who you are. I think Tozawa deserves a lot of credit.
So you say you're going with Black too?
Yeah.
All right.
I would like to see Tozawa go against Buddy Murphy, though.
Oh, I would like that. New Day defending the SmackDown Tag Team titles against the Revival.
I kind of have a feeling that the Revival are going to win.
Nah, I'm going to go New Day. I'm going to say they're not going to end New Day's reign just yet. But I could easily see Revival. In a tables, ladders, chairs match for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka Kairi Sane, defending against the reluctant duo of Charlotte Flair and the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch.
Well,
do we get Becky 2 belts again?
We might. It'd be interesting either way. I want to say this is going to be match of the night, just because of the talent. I mean, I really like that Kabuki Warriors tag team. They have a really good chemistry together.
And it is really coming together.
And it looks good, right? They're a visually appealing tag team. They wrestle well. I mean, there's a nice contrast between Asuka and Kairi Sane. Mm-hmm. That insane elbow is like legit. It looks even better now because she's like all badass with her umbrella thing coming out, and the green face paint, the Muda mist, all that stuff is great. I was like, I really don't want them to finish with those girls yet, but I do like the fact that there could be a storyline where it's kind of like the Mega Powers, where you have Charlotte and Becky Lynch holding these titles while Becky's still the champion, and you just never know when she's going to get backstabbed.
Although I think this is probably more like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mankind.
Oh, that too.
Very reluctant tag team partners. Yeah, they don't like each other, but hey, they're the tag champs.
But the thing is, whatever falls out from here is going to be the setup, right, for WrestleMania. It seems.
You would think. And I mean, you see, still got Royal Rumble, but you would think you'll start to see the seeds planted for WrestleMania. Because
Flair versus Lynch is money to me. Any single time those two ladies are in the ring, especially one-on-one, they're going to do their best to steal the show, and I would want to see it.
Are you going Flair Lynch then?
No, I'm still going Kabuki Warriors. But I'm just saying that I can see that happening.
Yeah, I do too, but I think I'm going to go Kabuki Warriors as well.
I'm just saying that this is like a throwaway pay-per-view, so I don't really see anything monumental happening.
Well, it's December. In another table ladder chairs match, Roman Reigns, King Baron Corbin, the dog food thing. Okay, I still want to know who the guy was under the ring that grabbed Roman's leg. Was that Daniel Bryan?
Maybe. We didn't see him. Right?
We always saw it was the hand. Always saw it was the hand. As the hand reached out and pulled Roman Reigns' leg to the post so they could put that orange strap around it. So
maybe it was Mark Henry's kid.
Maybe it was. That's it. It was the hand that Mae Young gave birth to with Mark Henry.
See, it all comes back around.
It. Somebody called WWE. We solved the mystery.
See, it all comes back
That's
around.
Right. That's right.
If you look hard enough, you'll find your answers.
Love you, Mark.
Hey, congratulations to him for being inducted.
That's right.
In the it's like the City Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's Silsby, who are, by the way, are still in the playoffs too.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Taking on Lampasas, if I remember correctly.
Ooh, Lampasas, dude. Yeah. That's going to be a good matchup.
State semifinals.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so Roman Reigns, Corbin, they're going to have Roman go over this.
You would think.
It's got to be the payoff. For the love of, I mean, if for one other reason, we can finally kill the dog jokes and the dog food thing.
But it's supposed to make you hate it. That's what heat is. So
no,
works.
it's not. It's not heat as in I hate it. I want to see Corbin get beat up.
You don't want to see Corbin get beat up?
I don't want to see it on TV. So, anyway, yes, I want to see Corbin beat up.
Then it worked.
Yeah. And then this is weird. So when we last saw Daniel Bryan, he had embraced the Yes movement and then got dragged down to quote hell end quote. And then you see the Fiend, appearing to tear out clumps of hair from Daniel Bryan. So fast forward to this past Friday night, no sign of Daniel Bryan, but apparently The Miz is worried about him. And then Bray Wyatt shows up in the Firefly Funhouse and decides he wants to play with The Miz. And you get the thing in the back in the backstage area where Miz goes into this room and there's red light and he sees the picture. Roman or Bray had the picture of Miz and Maurice and the two kids, and he finds the picture up now. Instead of Miz, it was Bray Wyatt, and then Bray Wyatt attacks him, Sister Abigail, and so now we're going to get Bray Wyatt, from the way it seems, not the Fiend, versus The Miz. And oh, by the way, this isn't for the title.
Oh, well, it's okay.
It's just Bray Wyatt versus The Miz.
All right.
Bray Wyatt is still the Universal Champion.
Well, the Fiend's the Universal Champion.
But Bray Wyatt has his own belt, has the blue belt. The Fiend has that god-awful monstrosity that they showed.
Exactly.
But they're both the Universal Champion. So Bray Wyatt can't defend the Universal title?
Unless he wants to. He doesn't have to.
I guess, yeah.
Did Flair always defend the title?
No.
Okay. Well, then there's nothing wrong with that.
I know. It's just odd.
And there's no sense of...
Because WWE usually doesn't do that. If you're the champion, you defend.
Again, it's a December pay-per-view.
Unless you're Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar just doesn't show up. But anyway.
But we all know that Bray wasn't going to lose.
Yeah, of course. Bray's not going to lose. But then I still want to know where, could we see Daniel Bryan come out and, maybe he's become... I don't know. I'm so confused. It's
Who knows, man? If Daniel Bryan has any input on what's going to go on, I'm pretty sure that it's probably going to work.
That's WWE TLC this Sunday on the WWE Network. A couple other things. New Japan has set forth the full card for Wrestle Kingdom 14. Couple of highlights on January 4th. By the way, this will happen at 5 p.m. Japan Standard Time, which means 2 a.m. here in Austin, Texas.
So you might as well just continue drinking.
That's right. And yes, and I am still probably going to do a live watch-along stream.
This guy's crazy.
That's crazy. Of course, the main event, Kazuchika Okada defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Kota Ibushi, the winner of the G1 Climax. Jay White will defend the IWGP Intercontinental Championship against Tetsuya Naito. Will Ospreay will defend the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against Hiromu Takahashi. A match that just got announced this past weekend. Lance Archer defends the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship against the returning Death Rider himself, Jon Moxley, in a Texas death match. Little piece of Texas happening in Tokyo. I was going to say, and by the way, Jon Moxley does realize Lance is from Texas. I hope.
Yeah, you would think that John would know this because Lance has the home match advantage here.
I mean, can you imagine? There is so much violence that's going to happen in that match.
Yeah, they don't ever call this. They never call it Oklahoma death match or Louisiana death match or Florida death. No, it's a Texas death match. There's a reason.
That's right, and
it's our specialty.
And opening both nights, by the way, Wrestle Kingdom 14, January 4th and 5th. Opening both nights, the final two matches for the legendary, iconic career of Jushin Thunder Liger, who should be in every Hall of Fame. WWE, Ring of Honor, PWHF, Waterloo.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, especially when you think about junior heavyweights and you have to go back to Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask.
Yeah.
Like, after those guys, this was the guy.
This was the guy. So, January 4th, it is a eight-man tag. Check out this team. Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask, the Great Sasuke, and friend of the show, friend of ours.
Yes.
And a Hall of Famer, Tatsumi Fujinami.
It's a pretty strong lineup of classic legends from Japan
That's
there.
Right. With El Samurai in their corner.
And El Samurai, yes.
Will face Naoki Sano, Shinjiro Otani, Tatsuya Takaiwa, and Taguchi with Kobayashi in their corner.
I know, right? I mean, come on, that's going to be fun to watch.
Regardless. It is going to be fun to watch.
I know, it's going to be a step slower than what most people are going to want. Maybe 2 steps slower.
It's Liger, though. It's Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah, but I mean, look how many legends you have in the ring. I mean,
know.
Just to see Tiger Mask
in
there along with all these dudes.
And Fujinami.
I was going to say
Fujinami can still go.
I was going to say he looked like he was in great shape when we saw him.
Yes.
Considering his age.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I mean, it should be at least entertaining.
And then January 5th. The final time that Jushin Thunder Liger steps inside a professional wrestling ring, he will team with Sano to take on 2 young stars in Hiromu Takahashi, who could be the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, and Ryu Lee, formerly known as Dragon Lee.
Wow, that's going to be quite the rub for those two. Because, I mean, I don't see Liger losing or winning his last match. I think he's just going to do business like all great wrestlers will.
Yeah.
And I think the night before is the celebration with the win, and the night out is the loss.
It's just that's gonna be worth it by itself. On January 5th as well, we will have whoever the IWGP Heavyweight Champion is take on the IWGP Intercontinental Champion for both titles. Okay. So at the end of January 5th, we will have a double champion.
So you're telling me it's going to be Naito for once? It's about time.
Could be Kota Ibushi. Could be Okada.
No way.
Could be Jay White.
No. We all know this is Naito's time. It needs to be Naito's time.
The 2 men that lose their matches on January 4th, they will face each other as well. Plus, ace.
Is there like a winner? Like, do they does the winner get like an automatic rematch against that guy or something?
No, it didn't say.
That's like the worst. That's like the worst consolation bracket ever.
That's the third place game. In a huge grudge match, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace, meeting El Champion. Well, I guess he's not El Champion here, but
he's still
Chris
the
Jericho.
AEW heavyweight champion.
He is still the AEW World Champion, but here he is the Painmaker, Chris Jericho.
Well, we don't know which Chris Jericho we're going to get to see.
No, it's already said. They've said it's the Painmaker.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already been. You've also got.
So which finisher does he use?
I think he'll still use the Juice Effect.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll also have Kenta defending the Never Openweight Championship against Hiroki Goto.
Isn't it good to see that he's actually, kind of found his footing back in Japan now that he had his...
part of Bullet Club. And then whoever survives the Texas Death Match will defend the IWGP U.S. Heavyweight Championship against Juice Robinson.
I like Juice, but I don't want to see Lance lose the title just yet. Because this title was originally meant for Juice.
Right. Absolutely.
And I can see them giving it to him too if they really want to get back to that push because he was really over.
We did forget to mention on January 4th, Juice Robinson, David Finlay, FinJuice, the winners of the World Tag League, they get their shot at the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles against the Gorillas of Destiny. January 5th, you'll see Zack Sabre Jr. defend the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship against Sonata from LIJ. All in all, I mean, this is going to be such a stacked card. It always is. It always sets the standard for big events at the beginning of the year. So New Japan Pro, and get ready to so January 1st, get that NJPW World subscription signed up. You know I will, and should be a great 2 nights.
You would hope so.
Wrestling in Tokyo,
but I would feel extremely disappointed if Naito does not come away with the titles.
Yeah. One other note, NJPW announced that the NJPW of America subsidiary will have their first U.S. tour of 2020 starting in late January. And one of those dates just happens to be January 30th in Miami. You know what else is happening that week in Miami?
In Miami?
In Miami, Florida.
I think their new soccer team is probably going to be kicking off around that time. MLS 2020.
Maybe. But that's not
what you were referring to.
That's
though,
not
right?
the football I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
That just happens to be the week of Super Bowl 54.
Ah, all right.
So, and I got my credential. So guess where I'm going to be on January 30th. I'm going to be checking out some.
I was going to say at home, chilling, watching the Super Bowl, so you didn't have to cover it this year.
No. Actually, I got to split time because that's also the night of Ron Jaworski's cigar party that he does every year for the Super Bowl. So I got to hit that and then go to New Japan.
Man,
so I can smoke my cigar with Jack Youngblood.
Oh man, I that's cool, but I'm like, poor Ron, poor Bon Jovi. I mean, the whole AFL thing. I was like, that's quite sad.
Yeah, Arena Football League shutting down. So.
Can't believe that though. Really, I was like that. Do you remember? It's a little off topic, but it's sports guy stuff. But
that's right.
But think about it: the Arena Football League had a video game, and it had a minor league affiliate in AFL 2 at one point because it was so popular, and it was shown on NBC television.
Yes. Austin had an AFL 2 team.
No, it was an AFL team.
Oh, it was AFL. Yeah, the Wranglers.
Yeah, right. I went to go see them. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then it went downhill after that. It's crazy.
It went downhill. So before we finish up, our best wishes to the legendary Bobby Fulton of the Fantastics. He is battling throat cancer. Met him 3 years ago in Dallas. Such a wonderful man. Had him on the show a few times since then. And just hoping for the best for him. Such a great man. Hope he kicks cancer. And we get to have him back on soon. So best wishes to the fantastic Bobby Fulton. When we come back from this timeout, we'll let you know what's happening in independent wrestling around the area. Plus, we'll let you know how you can win codes to watch Ring of Honor Final Battle and NWA Into the Fire this weekend for free. That's coming up next. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
This is Tanahashi, and you are listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Aishimasu!
Sports Guys talking wrestling on the horn. Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons. I still get chills.
He's still the best.
He is so fantastic.
I mean, people don't understand sometimes, especially like the newer pro wrestling fans. Like, please, you don't understand. You have to appreciate Tanahashi, because without him, I don't think any of this stuff happens, because he saves New Japan.
Yeah.
And then you start to fall in love with the strong style. And a lot of those guys that work in the independent scene really like that style. So that really influenced what you're seeing here today. And it's all because of that guy right there.
Because of Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Go Ace.
We've got some good events happening this weekend. We got to let you know about them. And we'll start in Corpus Christi with Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance presenting Holiday Beatings Friday night at the Valencia Event Center in Corpus Christi. Bell time 7:30 p.m. The Latin Heartthrob Gino will be there. The Young Gun, Chandler Hopkins, Nate Jolly, Roxy, and more. That's Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance Friday night in Corpus Christi. Reality of Wrestling presents Christmas Chaos 14 Saturday at Booker T's World Gym Arena in Texas City. Bell time 7 p.m. Will Allday, Moonshine Mantell, the return of Rex Andrews, Alex Gracia, and more. That's Reality of Wrestling this Saturday night in Texas City. And Elite Wrestling Association presents Meltdown Saturday at the Shipping and Receiving Bar in Fort Worth. Bell time 7 p.m. Nobi Bryant, Unholy Isaiah James, Bam Bam Malone, Magnificent Maliko, and more. That's Elite Wrestling Association Saturday night in Fort Worth. That's a look at independent wrestling around the area. Make sure you go out, see a show near you. Make sure you support independent wrestling. As we get ready to wrap up, as we have mentioned, we've got a way for you to win a coupon code for both Ring of Honor Final Battle on Friday night and NWA Into the Fire on Saturday night, thanks to our good friends at Fight TV. Here's how you do it. First of all, find us on Twitter at SGTWATX. Follow us. Also follow Fight TV at Fight TV, F-I-T-E TV. When you go to our Twitter page, you'll see a tweet pinned at the top of the page that has these directions on there. Like it and retweet it. We will choose the winner Friday at noon Central Time. We'll send you a message, let you know how you can access it, and you will get both codes. You'll get Ring of Honor Final Battle and NWA Into the Fire against.
That's a good deal. I didn't know we were giving both people,
yes,
that one person, both codes. Oh man,
one winner.
I'm jealous. That's a really good deal, and I'm having to pay for this out of pocket. So
that's
consider yourself lucky.
That's right. So thanks to our good friends at Fight TV, one of the best platform for combat sports out there. Fight TV. So make sure if you don't win, make sure you sign up for both those events and all types of wrestling events on Fight TV. You can still see the two events we did Super Bowl week this past year on Fight TV.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Bar Brawl and Come Hell or High Water. I was looking at pictures from that. Made me reminisce. So.
Well, TJ did set the standard.
I know he did, and now New Japan is following him. What do you got going this weekend?
I have Hilltopper basketball, so I get to go back to the Hilltop Thursday, Saturday, I think there, and then I have like the game next Saturday as well, so right before Christmas. But you know, the Hilltoppers do have the best player in the nation from last year coming back, on the men's team, and the women's team is pretty solid. But they're playing against probably one of the better women's teams in the nation. And then the men's game should be really good because West Texas A&M, I think they made it to the Elite Eight last year, and the men for the Hilltoppers, they were the number one team at one point last year as well, and they got to the Sweet 16. So I mean that I'm really looking forward to the men's game like that. If you like basketball and you want to see good college basketball in Austin in an intimate setting, and you don't want to spend a whole lot, this Thursday night would be the place to be at 7:30.
Nice, very nice. This Saturday, the Lake Travis Cavaliers.
What did I tell you?
They still go. They're still going.
I told you they would win.
It was a fantastic game. Hudson Card, 6 weeks with turf toe. He comes back, throws for 347.
Yeah,
runs for a touchdown, passes for a touchdown. Looked like he hadn't missed a beat. They beat Converse Judson. So now, in the state semifinals for the 6A Division I UIO Texas playoffs, Lake Travis and Galena Park North Shore.
No chance.
The defending state champions.
Now Lake Travis loses.
It's going to be tough sledding.
Okay.
That's this Saturday at the Palace on Palmer, the Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex.
Hey, short commute for you.
Just up the street from the SGTW World Headquarters. And, of course, you can hear that game starting at 3:45 with the pregame on the horn with Mark and Bucky in the booth, and I'll be on the sidelines. Yes, a very short drive for me. And then the next day I drive to Arlington. It is the Cowboys and the Rams. The Rams are going to just light them up. Cooper Kupp will catch 8 balls for 200 yards and score 5 touchdowns because that's what he does against the Cowboys. Anyway, that's a 3:25 kick on Sunday afternoon. You'll hear that started 1 hour earlier on the horn with the Cowboys pregame. And that'll do it for Sports Guys Talking Wrestling for this week. You can follow Justin Smash Simmons on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter at SGTWATX. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We are proud to be the official broadcast partner of the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we're proud to be part of the great lineup you hear every day on the flagship station for the Texas Longhorns and your radio home in Austin for the Dallas Cowboys. We are the Horn. Catch us this week and next week at 9 p.m. Central on the Horn, or you can catch us anytime by going to hornfm.com and look on the on-air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. My thanks to Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes, as well as Joe Hendry for joining us, and our thanks to you for giving us a little bit of your time tonight. For Justin, I'm Stu. We will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night. Bang!